I'm a firm believer of the fact that if you're not yet the villain in somebody's story, you're not doing it right. You're not working hard enough. You're not doing as much as you can be doing, because I feel like the only way to level up is to be the villain, is to be villainized and demonized by somebody, somewhere, sometime. And now, when I talk about being the villain in someone's story, I'm not referring to the fact of like you genuinely were the villain, you genuinely were a horrible person at that time and like really made a really bad mistake and stuff. I'm talking about when people gaslight you into thinking and believing that you're the villain, or like fabricate this story of you being the villain when in reality you were just living your best life. And I think this happens a lot when your motives and intentions will be really pure and people just can't acknowledge that. They can't give you praise for that because they're losers who have self-esteem issues. And so instead of giving you praise, they just weaponize your good qualities and your hard work and genuine authenticity. They weaponize that against you and fabricate this whole story as to why you're such a horrible person and why you're so bad and why you're the villain of this story. And like, while yes, it is really uncomfortable and it really sucks being the villain in someone's story when you know the story isn't true and you know they're going around and spreading rumors about you and telling people that you're somebody who you aren't, that is a perfect sign of the fact that you're quantum leaping, baby. You're leveling up. You are growing and surpassing whatever level they're at. And the only way for them to cope with it is by fabricating this story about you and how you suck and you're this horrible person and you have no respect and no empathy and no kindness and no authenticity and are selfish and rude and don't have any good intentions and went after them and this and that, whatever their storyline, plotline is going to be. Let it be. Just let it be. Let them disseminate the rumors, because at the end of the day, you're going to come out on top. And you're going to come out on top because you embrace that villain arc era storyline. Because like in reality, what are your options? When someone makes you the villain of a storyline, you have one of two options. One, you can stoop down to their level, which is what they're wanting you to do, and engage in the plot line, engage in the false narrative, and try and fight them on it, and try and argue and go head to head, words against words. Or you can rise above and show with your actions why whatever plotline, storyline they fabricated about you isn't true. It never was true, and it's never gonna be true, because you have character and you have empathy and you move about this life with genuine authenticity. And that is something that can't be discredited no matter how hard you try. Because no matter what someone says about you, when you continue to show up day after day as the person that you truly are and the person that you want to show up as and you're happy to show up as, that emanates through you, and it emanates through the words that you say, the way that you talk to people, the way that you look at people, the way you respond to people, your body language, whether you hold your chest high and your shoulders back or whether you keep your head down and your shoulders caved in. It manifests in every morsel of your being, and people can say whatever they want. Say whatever you want, because at the end of the day, true colors always, always, always show. And every single person that has villainized me and made me the villain of their story, I am thinking of them right now. I can look back at them literally, physically and metaphorically, because they are way behind me in the race of life. I am like light years ahead of them because I didn't engage in that villain story, because I just said, okay, honey, you're delusional, you're crazy. Make your story, make me the villain, victimize yourself, baby, because it's not helping you. It's not helping me. If anything, it is helping me because it's just adding fuel to the fire and giving me a reason to trudge forward and leave you in the motherfucking dust, because you're a victim, you're a wham baby, and you just want to sit in your sorrow all day and you don't ever want to introspect and consider the fact that maybe you're wrong. Maybe there's something you have to gain from someone else. And I feel like that's typically always how it goes down when someone else is villainizing you, it's typically because they're envious. It's typically because they resent you because you have something that they don't, because you're better off than them in some way, shape, or form, and they don't like it. They can't cope with it. They don't understand how you have this emotional intelligence, how you have this charisma, this confidence, this self-esteem, the financial stability, the intellectualism. They can't comprehend it in their brain. And so instead of sitting on those uncomfortable emotions and sitting with it and challenging their own beliefs and seeing what they can learn from you and learn from the situation, instead, it's just they're weak-minded little babies, and it's easier for them to flip the script and be like, no, actually, you suck, and you're a villain, and you came after me, and you made me feel like a bad person, and you didn't respect my feelings, and blah, 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 gaslight you into thinking that your experiences aren't valid, your emotions aren't valid, and they have nothing to apologize for, they have no accountability, they have no flaws, they're perfect, and have done absolutely nothing wrong in this situation. That's literally always how it goes down. And time again, the person that's right, the person that has a pure heart and is coming at the situation with pure intentions are typically the ones that are going to be villainized. They're the ones that are going to be demonized by the people that don't have pure intentions, that don't know what their values are, that don't know who they are and where they stand in this world. And because of their insecurity of that and that lack of belief and trust in themselves, they're just going to turn on you and make you the villain, because without doing that, they're kind of forced to introspect. When they look at you as the person that you truly are and see you as the person that you truly are, which is, a boss-ass bitch, the hero of the plot line, it forces them to introspect. It forces them to realize how inferior they are and how much more internal work they have to do on themselves. And that's uncomfortable. That's really uncomfortable for anyone, especially when you're one of the masses, when you're one of the majority, when you're an average person, Average people don't introspect. Average people don't have emotional intelligence, emotional awareness, emotional accountability. They are hardwired, and it's, through society, through capitalism, through generational trauma. We're hardwired into believing that emotions need to be separate from who we are, and we need to intellectualize everything and be really analytical and consume a bunch of pharmaceutical drugs to suppress our emotions and our feelings so that we don't have to sit with those uncomfortable emotions, and we don't have to introspect, and we don't have to do that really hard, difficult internal work, right? And so when you're one of the minority, when you're one of the top 1%, and you're one of the people that want to introspect and want to grow and want to learn and want to change and want to do better and want to live your happiest, most best, most fulfilling life possible, I need you to realize that that's not what everyone in this world wants. They might make it seem like that's what they want in theory, but in practice, they don't want that, because if they truly wanted that, they would be sitting with the uncomfortable feelings and emotions. They wouldn't be chugging pharmaceutical drugs every single day. They wouldn't be drinking poison at the bar to numb their feelings and emotions, smoking their feelings away. They wouldn't be engaging in all of these vices that are so common in modern day society. And all in all, they wouldn't be suppressing their emotions. They would be engaging in their emotions and feeling them out, getting in tune with them, because really that's the only way to get to know yourself and learn how to regulate your nervous system and then level up and all that stuff. And that's just something that majority of the population doesn't want to do, because it doesn't garner immediate results, and it's difficult, it's uncomfortable, and it's not something that's in mainstream media. And so for weak, small, pea brain little people, it's hard to even conceptualize that that's something that they need to do. And when majority of the population isn't an intellectual in the way that, and a strong intellectual, like with integrity and heart and resilience and fortitude. When you don't have those qualities, it's kind of impossible to differentiate what you need to do and how you need to better yourself and how you need to improve. And this definitely isn't to like make an excuse for these people and to pass the buck and say that they aren't responsible for their misery and their horrible treatment towards you and towards all the other people in their life, but it is just mainly to provide some context so that you can better understand where they're at in their journey and better understand that it's not personal. It's really not personal. Like, at the end of the day, nothing in this life is personal in terms of your interactions with other people. Everything is a reflection of every individual and what they're going on in what's going on in their lifetime and in their existence and where they're at in their life journey, right? And I think it's definitely hard to like stay aware and cognizant of this because we're human beings and we're creatures who thrive off of human connection and love and feelings of acceptedness and oneness. However, when you want to move through this life differently, when you want to be a part of the top 1%, when you don't want to be unhappy and miserable and unhealthy and fat and ugly and addicted and dependent, when you want to live your best life, you will very quickly, very easily be ostracized by the people around you because unless you're really blessed to be surrounded by all people and only people that are also on the same wavelength as you and also want to level up and be the best that they can be, which is so rare. And I think even when you are fortunate enough to be in that position where you're surrounded by a lot of like-minded people, you are still going to trigger the people around you because at no point in time are you ever on the exact same path and journey and point in time of your journey with every single person around you. Like maybe, yeah, one or two if you're lucky enough, but majority of the people that you surround yourself with are not going to be on the same wavelength. And when you're moving through this life at a really fast trajectory and you're really committed to growing and developing and healing and recovering and again, being committed to being the best person that you can be, that moves through everything that you do. That shows in every mannerism that you have. And people pick up on that, whether they realize it or not, whether it's conscious or unconscious. The slightest interaction with someone that has their shit figured out, has their trauma healed, knows their worth and is confident and stands tall in that knowingness, you can sense it. Everyone can sense it, whether you want to admit it or not. And for majority of the population, people that are depressed and unhappy and chronically anxious, that triggers them, that upsets them because again, everything's a reflection of what's going on in your internal state. And so for them, you being your best self, you being committed to health and wellness and healing from trauma and being a bad bitch, whatever it is, that's a reflection to them of everything that they could be, all of their potential. They see that all as a mirror in you. And so it's hard then to run from your problems and your emotions and all the icky feelings that you try to escape from on a daily basis and numb with your prescription meds and your weed and your tobacco and your booze and whatever it is. You can run for as long as you want, but you can't avoid running into people that have done the work. Whether it be at school, at work, at the grocery store, at family events, there will always be that minority top 1% that has their shit figured out and loves themselves and knows their worth and stands tall in their worth. And no matter how hard you try, they will always be there as a reflection in a mirror of everything that you could be, all of your potential. And for like minded people like yourself watching this video who want to grow and want to learn and want to change, want to heal, that's amazing. It's great because it's a catalyst for growth. Yet at the same time, you can be on your healing journey and that can still be triggering for you. And you may not even know or realize why or how. And the fact that it triggers you is also reflected in how you interact with that person. Even if you are like pretty well down your healing journey, it could just be a one-off bad day. It could be a one-off instance where you don't really engage in a situation in the way that you would have loved to or wanted to. You know, maybe you were a little snappy, maybe you were a little cynical, whatever. And I feel like that's all fine and good, and that's part of the healing journey because for people that want to change and do better, they're going to go home, they're going to go away from that interaction and reflect on it and grow from it. But from the people that are chronically unwilling to do the work and to introspect and to see their flaws and heal from their traumas, it's never going to be a one-off instance. It's never going to be just a bad day, just a one bad comment. And they'll try and brainwash you into thinking that it is. That it's just one thing and you blew it out of proportion. You took it out of context. You're too sensitive. You care about your feelings too much. Whatever they want to purport it to be. When you get that vibe of like animosity, of like, I triggered this person and I am just simply existing, you're right. Listen to your instincts. Listen to that insight and that voice in your head that's telling you, I trigger this person. This person doesn't like me just because I'm me, just because I'm doing amazing and I'm doing great and I'm happy and I'm well and I'm upbeat and I'm vibrating at this really high vibration, right? When you pick up on that feeling, trust it and move about your relationships and interactions accordingly. And, you know, it's going to take a certain amount of time for some people. Like, sometimes you sense it and you want to give people the benefit of the doubt and you want to hope that, you know, maybe it is just a one-off instance, or maybe they're really good at hiding it and really good at purporting the fact that they do care about health and wellness and, you know, they're not triggered by you, and however they choose to cover it up, the realness will always surface. And when it does surface in comments and interactions that just don't fly with you, take that shit to heart. Those are the things that you know, definitely don't need to take personally, but definitely need to see for what they are and react accordingly. Like, limit your energy, distance yourself, create space between you and that person that's giving you the bad juju vibes, evil eye vibes. And I'm talking people that you know are never really, truly, genuinely happy for you. People where you tell them good news and they're like, oh yeah, that's so good, that's so great. Those are people that are never going to support you. They're never going to cheer you on and support your wins. And when you really start winning in this life, you really only should be creating time and energy and space for people that are going to cheer you on and people that are genuinely going to celebrate your wins. Because when you don't and you allow room and space for the one-off people that have animosity towards you, the one-off people that are chronically triggered by your existence, you're just limiting your own power. You're just limiting your own capacity and capability because you may not realize it, but just being around them, just allowing them to feed off of your energy field, you may not realize it, but they're siphoning your energy. And that's the only reason why they're hanging out with you. And the only reason why they're around you is because they're trying to figure out how it is that you are the way that you are, how it is that you're so happy, how it is that you are so confident and so good at what you do. It doesn't make sense to them, and it's never going to make sense to them because they're never going to do the work. And they know that. And so instead, they're just going to try and hang out with you and see how they can get any shortcuts from you to try and get to where you are. And because they're not there yet and they're not looking to do the genuine work to get there, they're going to be pulling you down constantly, whether you know it or not. And this happens through like both obvious and unobvious slights. Comments where you're like, damn, that was really fucking mean. That was really rude. Actions where you're like, that was weird. I would never do that. That was totally unprovoked. Why would they do that? And it's oftentimes when you are literally just existing, you're not doing anything, and especially when you're setting boundaries and you are standing up for yourself and making it known that people have to respect you. When you become very vocal in terms of defending yourself and your self-worth and your values, that's when people will try harder and they'll be more upfront and evident of the fact that they're trying to tear you down. Because that is especially when your actions and your behavior and mannerisms trigger them in that insecure, anxious, depressed part of them. Because when you don't respect yourself and you don't surround yourself with people that respect you, and you're not aware of your values, and you don't operate in a way in which those values are respected, and then you're met with someone that does value themselves, does surround themselves with people that value them too, does operate in accordance to their values, people that respect themselves and are respected by the people around them, and then set boundaries to ensure that's the way their life functions. The people that don't know how to do that will be upset by it, and they will be uncomfortable by it because in their life and in their world, they can't fathom the idea or concept that they can't be an asshole just unprovoked, because that's the way in which they go about their entire life. And so when you try and put limits on that shitty behavior, they're like angry little toddlers who throw fits and get all angsty and angry and mean and feisty, and that's when they'll start to make you the villain. That's when the gaslighting will come up, and that's when the temper tantrums will start. This is very prominent in friendships with, coworkers, family members, especially when you're breaking like generational trauma and like generational curses and mannerisms that aren't beneficial to you. When you have the strength and the commitment to do those things, the people that don't have the strength to do that are triggered by it and upset by it. And again, the only way they can cope with it is by making you out to be this horrible villain, this horrible person who attacked them and only thinks about yourself and never took into care and consideration their feelings and emotions and treated them like shit, and therefore that justified them treating you like shit in return. Whatever like fabricated storyline, plotline, justification they have, just let it be. If you know at the end of the day that you're making choices and decisions that are in line with your values and in line with the type of life you want to live and the type of life you want to build, don't overthink it. Don't overstress it and don't overcomplicate it, and just accept the fact that you're going to be the villain in many people's stories, because the fact of the matter is that not everyone is going to therapy. Not everyone is exercising regularly. Not everyone is meditating or journaling or setting time aside for art and creative endeavors and, introspective work, whether it be tarot cards or self-talk positive affirmations, reflecting, breath work, whatever it be, that stuff is all very niche still in modern day Western context. And I think those are the things that you have to be engaging in to level up and be happy and healthy and live the best life possible and just like really get to know yourself and get to know what you need and want out of this life. And so when you're committed and you're diligent to doing that stuff, and it shows in the way that you live and exist, it's obviously triggering the people around you. You kind of just have to let it be and like root yourself and ground yourself back in those practices that remind you of who you are and why you're doing this, and reaffirm the fact, because it is a fact. And don't forget that. It's not just a belief. It's a fact that you care for yourself. And by virtue of caring for yourself, you care for the people around you. Because you can really only genuinely care for the people around you when you actually care for yourself. When your cup is empty and you don't know how to fill your own cup, there's no possible way for you to fill the cups of the people around you. And people that have it twisted will try and make it seem like it's the other way around. Don't listen to them. Just cut them off. Cut them off, because it's not your job to train them, to teach them how to be a better person. You can lead by example, sure. But when their animosity is coming to the surface too frequently and they're too evidently being triggered by you and they can't control those triggers and they're not positively, effectively responding to those triggers, let them go. Create distance, create space. If you have to engage with them, make it be very minimal, very surface level. Protect your peace and your energy at all costs. And at the end of the day, don't let them be a part of your energy field and your aura and your good vibes that you offer and bring to this world. The compliments you give, the smile you have, the warmth of your spirit and your energy, the care that you provide to the people around you. Cut that shit off. Because when you're constantly giving, and you're giving to people that can't give back to you, babe, you're depleting your energy source. And that shit is sacred. It's sacred. And that energy source is what you need to keep yourself fueled and yourself charged. And you need that charge to carry you through your future endeavors and your future goals and self-growth, self-love journey and plan. And the longer that you keep these victim mentality people in your life that are just chronically triggered by you and are never going to do the work, the harder it becomes to take a step back from those relationships and create the space and create the distance and cut the cord if you have to, because you're more committed and you've invested more into it. And just like psychologically, you think, if I've given them this much, if I've invested this much, I've got to get a return on my investment somehow. Yet sometimes that's not how it works. Sometimes they're really good at hiding who they are. Sometimes you read the situation wrong. Sometimes they're a little bit too hopeful, a little bit too optimistic. And sometimes you just got to cut your losses and throw your hands up in the air, throw the towel in, walk away, and take what you can from the experience, but then take all that energy that you were putting into that toxic victim mentality, friendship, relationship, and put it into yourself. Fill your own cup. Because I promise you, when you start to do that, it gets a lot easier to differentiate who the victim mentality people are in this world and who the hero mentality people are in this world. The people that are willing to do the work, the people that are willing to stand in their worth and speak their truth. And those are the people that you really want to be surrounding yourself with at the end of the day, because those are the people that are going to inspire you and motivate you and encourage you to be the best version of yourself. And who doesn't want to be the best version of themselves? Who wants to be chronically depressed and anxious and addicted to prescription medications and drugs and alcohol. Who really wants that life? Come on. Anyone that says they do is lying and just doesn't know how good it can get when you truly love yourself and you truly learn how to love and appreciate this life and this existence. But at the end of the day, that's their battle to fight. And I think that's the whole point, that like, I get you're an empath and I get that you care about other people and you want other people to see the light at the end of the tunnel. But it's not your job to hold everyone's hand to get there and carry everyone's baggage because, babe, you've got enough baggage of your own. And you put in the work and the time and the energy and the strife to deal with that baggage. And to quote Kim K, you didn't come this far just to come this far and to give up and take on someone else's baggage and to slow down and hold someone's hand and let them treat you like shit and let them tell you that you're someone that you're not. We don't have time for that. Babe, it's 2025. We are being our best selves. We are working towards our dream life. We are building our empires and we are cutting everyone and anyone off that doesn't fit into that dream life. And so if that means you're a villain, if that means you're demonized and you're a bully and you're self-absorbed and you don't care about people and you're a mean girl and whatever they want to fabricate you out to be, let them have it. Let them have it. Let them talk their shit. Let them gossip because, babe, you are the most exciting thing that has ever happened to them. And that's why they feel the need to consume so much energy by talking about you and making up stories and lies and fabrications. When anyone who engages with you knows that's not true, knows that's not the person that you are, and when you stand in that truth and you walk that truth and you let them talk and you let the villain stories circulate, it is so gratifying. It is so gratifying to let people talk shit about you and tell everyone that you're someone that you're not and paint this false image of you and then go and disprove it. Disproving a false image of you it's my favorite thing. It honestly kind of gets me high. It really does. There's genuinely, truly nothing like it. Like, yeah, babe, talk your shit because you got nothing better to do because your life is sad and miserable. And I'm too cool and too hot and too smart and too funny to be bothered by any of it. So, like, go, talk shit. And I'm going to sit here with my chin up, my shoulders back, chest out. I'm going to let it circulate. And I'm not going to be bothered by it. I'm going to be so unbothered, so unfuckwittable. And I'm just going to show you how much it does matter, how much it doesn't matter to me, how much I don't care, how much all of your opinions mean absolutely nothing to me because I'm happy and I'm healthy and I'm grateful. And I have so many other people that care about me, even if it is only one or two people. That's still more than most of the population has, because everyone's fake. And when you're fake, you really only surround yourself with fake people and fake relationships. And so at the end of the day, it's their loss. At the end of the day, they're fucked and you're not. They're the loser, you're the winner. They're down bad, you're big up. Just remember that. Just remember that. Stay locked into your knowingness, your truth, and let them make you the villain. Because, baby, why were the villains always my favorite characters in the movies? Because they're legends. They're cool as fuck. Like Dr. Doofenshmirtz, why is that the first villain that comes to mind? He was kind of iconic. Or like Maleficent. So iconic. And if it's villain or victim, Baby, I'm choosing villain time and time and time again because the villain's kind of always winning. The villain's always a baddie. And when you know truly in your heart that you're not a villain and you don't have ill intent, let them talk. What do you care? What do you care? You're cool as fuck. And so just remember that. Just remember that. Anytime that someone tries to paint you out to be the villain, let them. And take it as a sign that you're leveling up. That they're scared of you. They're scared of you and they're triggered by you. And the only way they can cope with how astonishingly cool and amazing you are, it's to spread lies and try and bring you down from your high vibe. Sad, honestly. Truly, really sad. And I pity those people. Like, pih, I spit on you. Because at the end of the day, that mentality of like, let them, I'ma do me, that's what's gonna carry you to the finish line and beyond, baby. So just keep your head high. Let them talk. Be the villain. You're better off without them. Okay? Kisses. Love you. Bye.